Grief is a change you don't want. When someone leaves or don't want us in their lives anymore, or when a situation or a thing we were looking forward to doesn't work the way we expected, it brings a lot of negative feelings like trauma, grief, regret, depression, and the end result of all these emotions is a heartbreak. So welcome to the channel as we are going to be talking today about how to navigate this heartbreak or grief in us and emerge better. And also you will realize those things you thought were helping out in moving on from your grief, but which actually were just taking you on a short break, but not actually healing you from that grief. So keep watching if you are interested, and also subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Heartbreak is a feeling that isn't only felt by those in a romantic relationship. Heartbreak can occur in all different forms of our lives. We can be heartbroken in love, and we can be heartbroken in life. So here is what you should know about heartbreak. It is exceedingly hard to move on from one, especially when we are young and full of expectations and have built dreams in our mind about that person or that life circumstance or situation that has brought this feeling of heartbreak in our lives. So the brain finds it so hard to accept this sudden reality. So it is important for you to help your brain believe, understand, and accept that individual, that situation is gone and gone for good. Recent scientific studies have proven that women tend to be more negatively affected by grief and emotional pain, but they also tend to be able to accept and move on from this reality than men. Women have the tendency to accept the reality of a heartbreak or a disappointment. They are more ready to accept and feel the full depth of the feeling. They are also able to associate with trauma more easily than men will, thus making it easier for them to get over it in the long run. In most cases, people use a number of strategies to run away from grief. They use distraction, they sublimate to anger and avoidance of various kinds. Others try to self-soothe with alcohol, some with multiple partners. But guess what? All this never works. They just extend the grief for a longer period of time. This is because the map of space, time, and closeness needs to be fractured. You need to be able to break that connection that you had with that thing or that individual. Your brain needs to be able to disconnect from every fiber of emotion or feeling that you had for that individual or attachment you had towards that situation or thing that has caused or led you to have a heartbreak. And so the only way to do that is for the brain to be able to confront reality that that person or that thing really is never coming back. Some people feel that by talking to others about the heartbreak will make them feel better. They also try to analyze the situation, asking themselves questions like, what did I do? How did I do? How can I undo this thing that I did? While some of these analyses are healthy, some are not, because it tends to allow them to put the blame on themselves, and this might have very negative consequences, as others might end up hurting themselves in the process and also hurting others. So if women are seen as the stronger sex to deal with grief, we can say it is just because they are able to pack down their emotions. They allow themselves to sob uncontrollably in their pillows. They also use scream therapies and many other things. So the better we can lean into our emotional state, which we fear the most, and in the most controlled way that we can without hurting ourselves or other people, the better. The more we try to sublimate by using anger, self-blame to work longer and harder, the more we give ourselves the illusion that we are actually working ourselves out of that situation, out of that heartbreak, out of that grief or disappointment that we are facing, the longer our grief. This is because what you failed to do, which you should have done from the start, was to remap that FaceTime closeness, was to break that connection and link in your brain. Reason why you find yourself years later, even after having worked yourself out to achieve some level of success and growth in your life, there is still an emptiness or a feeling of exhaustion in you. This is because you never dealt with your loss or allowed yourself to grieve from that disappointing situation or from that great heartbreaking lifetime experience. So don't be in a hurry to move on from a disappointment or a heartbreaking experience from a partner or from a lifetime situation. Rather, allow yourself to grieve, allow yourself to come to terms with reality. Most people often feel that allowing themselves to grieve or feel bad about the situation means they are weak or not strong enough, but it is actually very important to grieve after a heartbreaking situation, because it helps you to be able to move on. It helps you to be able to disconnect, to break that barrier and move on fully to your next lifetime experience or situation. One thing you should know is that we all live with some unattended grief in our lives. That sadness that you feel in your heart, we all have it because of one grief that we fail to attend to in our lifetime. This sadness or grief might be different, but it is present in almost everyone living today. So stay strong, accept your grief, accept your situation, sob if you must, scream if you must, but don't leave it unattended to. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and please leave us a comment if you found this video helpful. Thanks and see you next time.